in India growing pretty tremendously over the next several years. Internet penetration is growing, mobile penetration is growing, cloud services are growing, and what we find is there's about 30 million micro and small medium businesses in India today, and there's only 2 million websites. So the potential for all of these small businesses to come online is incredible in India. And over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll be seeing a lot of these small businesses come online. So the opportunity in India from a domain name and hosting perspective is huge. And not just that, for other value-added services like mobile services, social networking services, hosting services, etc.
The internet has changed everything, and all of us. It has redefined connection and community, making a big, big world smaller and more accessible. It has democratized opportunity and leveled the playing field for all. But none of this change would have been possible if the internet hadn't always been always available. Because the internet is always available, people have dared to launch their ideas on it. We trust it with our lives and livelihoods, and entire economies and businesses have been built upon it. And while the world takes the availability of the internet for granted, we do not. We cannot, because the internet as the world knows it simply would not be available without the underlying infrastructure VeriSign has built to deliver it with 100% accuracy for the last 12 years. That indispensable infrastructure is what VeriSign manages and protects every day. It's the reason the internet is fast, safe, and reliable. And not just for people surfing for .com and .net sites. Our services also help ensure that online businesses are as available as the web itself. At VeriSign, we always strive to deliver the flawless network performance that will help enable the full potential of the internet.
So firstly, thanks Bhavan, thanks Sridhar. I think I have to congratulate Sridhar and the team here. I think the event is brilliant. I mean, just 2 months and you've put together Asia's largest hosting conference. And of course, we're very proud to be with you guys at this event. Really quickly, I think you guys hopefully have all known about VeriSign since you saw the video. But our senior VP and head of global naming, Pat Kane, was supposed to come. He couldn't come because of the bad weather in the US. But he sent a quick video just for all of us and to sort of thank you for joining us here. So I'd like to play Pat's video, please.
The internet is the universal medium of opportunity. Nowhere is this truer than in India today. The energy of entrepreneurship I personally encountered in India cannot be confined to the ambition of individuals, the size of the business, or the border. With the internet, India has emerged as one of the world's most important and fastest growing markets. Micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises are the engines for this growth, establishing themselves locally while recognizing global opportunities. India itself as a country has built and earned strong brand equity around the world, making these opportunities a reality. Consumer access to the internet in India continues to climb, and both mobile and e-commerce are on a similar growth trajectory. The conditions are right, the opportunity is right, and the numbers speak for themselves. 30 million micro, small, and medium enterprises growing GDP from 17 to 22% this year alone. And with only 2 million websites in India, this represents a large and untapped opportunity for everyone in attendance. Zoom out to India as a whole and you'll see 121 million users, the third highest number in the world. And e-commerce is expected to grow from $10 billion US today to $125 billion US in little more than a decade. Zoom back in, we see the proximity that we all have with end customers. You are their trusted advisors. You are the gatekeepers of web trends. You are the providers of value-added services that win and retain customers. You help them see change for what it really is, opportunity. Their opportunity, your opportunity, an opportunity only the internet itself can make possible. As a title sponsor for the Reseller Club Hosting Summit, VeriSign is proud to host such an impressive group and extends a warm welcome to all here. I wish you a great 2 days ahead. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Pat, and I wish he could have come, Bhavin, but he couldn't. As you heard from Bhavin and Pat, India is at a very interesting crossroads. I mean, the numbers are just all up and to the right. And I have another great video to show you that actually puts all these trends together, which I'll show you in a minute. But I think whether you look at mobile or PC internet, social networking, hosting, I mean, all of these spaces in India are just growing pretty phenomenally and will over the next several years. And as Pat said in his video, you guys are the trusted advisors of all of these micro and small businesses, 30 million of them that really will come online in India over the next 5–10 years. So before I begin, I'm going to show you one last video, try to make it pleasurable here. And that video will focus on the different trends that we see globally and in India, which will show you a comparison of what's happening globally and then what's happening in India across all of these different spaces. And then I'll share some trends with you, from the domain and SMB industry. So can you play that last video, please? So that was it. So if that video doesn't excite you about India, I don't know what can, right? The stats are just outstanding. And I think where this industry is headed is just phenomenal. So let me take you through some of my thoughts. So specifically, domain name industry, as Bhavin said, growing, we still see incredible growth in the domain name industry. About 240 million domain registrations across all top-level domains in the second quarter this year. CommonNet itself is still growing. We're seeing a close to 8% year-over-year increase, which is now reaching about 120 million domain names. And the CCTLDs have also grown to over 100 million domain names. So this market is still growing, and India is just getting started. So the registry renewal rate's also interesting because when you look at CommonNet, we're at the 73–74% renewal rates. And down there I have a visual that shows you how many websites are there behind those domain names. And I think apart from that 11 or 13% of websites, 13% of domains that don't have websites, everybody else has a website, right? So incredible in terms of people coming online, getting obviously a common net domain name, building their own web presences. But what is driving all this and what will drive all this is the growth in the micro and the SMB space. So globally, if you look at the micro and SMB space, wonderful growth, and by 2016, we're talking about 250 million micro and small businesses worldwide. But today, only a third are online. So it's a huge opportunity globally to bring all of these small businesses online. And we look at India, this is what the Ministry of MSME puts out, micro and small medium enterprises. We're up to 3 crores, 30 million micro and small businesses in India today. We've grown from 25 million 5 years ago, right? So growth in MSMEs in India, and the video showed you 2 million websites in India. So again, the potential is just absolutely huge. And people in this room are the ones who are actually going to bridge the gap between the 2 million and this 30 million. So one of the things that VeriSign did is we wanted to speak to SMBs globally and in India to understand what their perspectives are and preferences are about the internet. So we first touched people in India and said, if you don't have a website, what online presence do you have? And pretty much the top 2 things that came out were that they're listed on an online business directory, and second, they use a generic email like a Yahoo or a Gmail, which is understandable. But when we asked them, the same people who don't have websites, what is the #1 thing you want? Everybody said, I want a website. So a large proportion said, I want a website. So again, that shows you that the awareness is building up, and as Bhavan said, it's great when everybody builds out this awareness. But when we do, these are the kind of results that we see when we ask the question, do you want a website? And then the next question is, how do I get a domain name and a website? And all of you need to make that easier for those 30 million businesses. And the other thing that we ask them is, if you work with a vendor or with a partner, what would you like? And the first thing they say is, we want you to give us a website builder, an SEO, SEM optimization service, and actually interestingly, up there, if you look at the red and the orange, local website promotion and social networking. So this was in India, right? So they are looking for websites. They're looking for tools like website building services. They're looking for tools like to help them promote their website, and looking for tools around social networking. Let's talk about social networking a bit, because the video also showed you a lot of social networking activity in India, a lot of consumers on social media. But very interestingly, when we spoke to SMBs, what we noticed is that social media and social networks are not a replacement for websites, right? So when an SMB looks at how to get their business online, how to reach their customers, certainly Facebook and social media is important, but having their own website is equally important. And if you look at the percentage having both, that's increased quarter over quarter over the last several quarters. And that makes sense, right? Because when you talk to a small business, why would you want social media? Because social media is inherently interactive. That's where the consumers are, that's where your customers are, end customers. It's easy to track and acquire, and it's viral. But what it doesn't give you is what domains and websites gives you, which is you control the design, you own the data, you can target and personalize, and you can reach all of your audience, especially those who do not use social media to talk to SMBs, right? So both are equally important based on everything we've seen globally. I'll talk about the cloud a little bit. The other big buzzword is the cloud, and again, the video showed you something like $325 million is the opportunity in the cloud in India. So Microsoft did a survey where they talked to SMBs and said, what are the cloud applications that are interesting? And the top 2 that came out were billing and accounting and CRM, customer relationship management. And I wanted to show this because several of you may be thinking about what next. And that what next could be this picture right here. The blue circle there represents domain services, which is about a $0.8 billion market globally. The green one represents online presence, which is about a $5 billion market globally, and that means SEO, SEM, email marketing, hosting services, security services like SSL, etc. And then the big blue bubble represents cloud SaaS services and primarily accounting and finance management and payments. And that we know is a $15 billion market globally. So as you think about how you extend and deliver other services, you can actually look at this chart and look at moving from domains to online presence to cloud SaaS. And that shows you the kind of opportunity that exists with SMB customers globally. I want to talk about GTLDs a bit, and many of you have been reselling .com and .net, and that's great. Thank you for doing that. But certainly, new generic top-level domains is coming. ICANN has opened up the top-level domain space. Many of you know about this, so we should be seeing almost any string next year or in a couple of years, which means a .london, a .friend, a .shop, a .mumbai, etc. Come to bear. And so it's a whole new landscape that we're going to navigate in the next couple of years. But that's interesting because it helps people expand registration services, helps you guys expand your registration services. And we spoke to a bunch of SMBs about new GTLDs, and what we found is half of those that we spoke to understood the concept of GTLDs, and more than half said they would like to buy a new GTLD. But very interestingly, majority said they would only buy it if it pertained to their profession or business, right? So a dentist would rather buy something .dentist than just about any new GTLD, right? So that's interesting, but that means that there is an opportunity here as you think about new GTLDs coming, launching, and SMBs and how they will interact with new GTLDs. So this is a chart that basically says majority of them want a new GTLD that reflects their business or profession, and they like the notion of pre-qualification, which means that if all the dentists are in this .dentist, they like that. They like the fact that somebody has told them that this is a sandbox that you can play in and this relates to your profession. The other interesting thing is the internationalization of the internet. If you sort of look at what happened in '96 versus 2011, the number of people who've accessed the internet, or the percentage in the US, has dropped from 66 to 13%, which means today 87% or more of the world's population, which is online, is not in the US. 41.1% is in Asia Pacific and growing as more and more of us in India go online. So if you look at this stat, less than 27% are English speakers online, right? 37% speak all of these other languages. And again, as more and more people come online from Asia Pacific, this number is going to grow. So what does that mean? That means we're going to see more and more non-English content on websites. We already see that. If you look at .com and .net websites today, you see that blue bar has gone from 48% to 56% over the last several quarters, and this is non-English content on .com and .net websites globally. We also see a 10% increase in IDN registrations for .com and .net year over year. And if you look at the top 3 million most visited .com and .net websites, there's 35% more IDNs in there, right? So the trend is in internationalization of the internet. And whether or not India joins that trend next year, it'll certainly join that trend in the coming years. So what does that mean in terms of the opportunity? For SMBs, it allows them to interact with the internet in the language they prefer, in the script they prefer. And for many of you, it means that you can expand your registration services leveraging the same infrastructure pretty much that you have today, right? So that was really quick, but I just wanted to quickly take you through 3 or 4 key things that we see out there, and I'll just recap. We talked about SMBs growing, we talked about people wanting to come online, wanting websites, wanting other services such as mobile, social networking, cloud services. There's opportunity in new GTLDs, in IDNs. So all in all, this industry is very exciting, and India is a great place to be right now. So I'll just share 2 final thoughts with you. One is on how do SMBs select vendors. We asked this other question, and someone mentioned competition. A lot of competition. Many of you are selling similar services. But how do SMBs select who they want to work with? And the number one thing people say is, you need to understand my business. Price is important, promotions are important, recommendations are important, but you need to understand my business and you need to give me solutions that I can use, and only then will I work with you. And so what does this mean? Solution selling and differentiation. Solution selling is a lot more than throwing a bunch of products into a bundle together. It actually means understanding what the problem statement is and delivering a solution for that small business to ensure the problem goes away. And differentiation is interesting because in a highly competitive market, you can't just differentiate based on the fact that you're selling something. Everyone's selling hosting. But how you sell what you sell is really important, right? So if you deliver the right solutions, the right customer service, the right after-sales support, etc., those are how you do the things differently than your competitors, and that will get you ahead of them. So that was it. Brief presentation. Hopefully this sets the stage for what I think are the big opportunities in India and globally.